Hello, everyone. Welcome to
Hello.
welcome to this Freepik webinar. So we have 45 minutes together, and we are going to be looking at how to make cinematic videos using Kling 3.0. It's a fairly new model, really powerful. So we decided to simply have a full webinar covering many of the different powerful features. Today we have David Ferrero from the Freepik Studios team with us, and he will be showing how he made a video. And I'll also be showcasing a video that I did, and we will together be showcasing pretty much every feature that Kling 3 has to offer. In the end of the webinar, we'll also go over a few new features that are coming to Freepik Spaces, and we'll also have time for Q&A. You're also welcome to ask questions, during the webinar, and we also have Easy in the background. She'll be moderating some of the questions, and they'll pop up on the screen. So let's make this a little bit more interactive, so it's not just one-way communication. Just to get started on Kling 3, one thing we will talk about is basically what are the different features that are coming in Kling. And there are 3 different flavors for Kling. There's, the basic version, which is called Kling 3.0 with no additional name. This one supports start and end frame, but it also has a few very nifty features where you can define characters and define elements to get really good consistency. And it can generate up to 15 seconds of video, and including both audio, so sound effects, but also speech. Really powerful model. We have the Kling Omni model, which is slightly different. This one can handle either 7 reference images of different objects or characters and scenes and so on. But you can also give it a reference video and then a bit fewer reference images. So slightly different options with that one. Again, you can generate up to 15 seconds of video, but the reference video is 10 seconds max. You can also get audio and speech from that one. And then finally, we have the motion control version, which is more oriented towards animating people. So you can upload a video, reference video of yourself, and then you can upload a picture of a character, and then you can basically transform whatever movement you have, facial expressions, and so on. You can transfer that to a fictive character. So we're going to take a look at some of these features in these 2 demos. The first project, I think David, he will just introduce this one. Really interesting backstory for this one.
Yeah. Thanks, Martin, and thanks everyone for joining. It's super exciting being here. So, showing this project. Basically, I wanted to create something based on the Muisca community, the civilization. It's an ancient community from Colombia, where I'm based. So basically, this is a reconstruction of a super important ritual that the civilization used to have when they invest like an investiture for their king, like 500 years ago. But this ritual give birth to the legend of the El Dorado. If you go to the next one, please, Martin. Thank you. So before showing the video, I wanted to give a little bit of an overview or context for this video, and it's like based on this El Dorado legend. Some of you may have heard it, maybe with Uncharted, the video game. They have like a video game based on El Dorado legend, and also Disney has a movie about this. But El Dorado was based, as I mentioned before, on a ritual that the Muisca culture held to invest their new king. So they would go basically to this part, super sacred landscape called the Lake Guatavita Lake, and it's like a crater-shaped lake. And all the people will go on the rim on the edge of the crater, and then the new king will go inside the lake with priests. So that's a little bit of a representation what you're seeing in these images of this raft inside the lake with the priests and the king. The new king is gonna be like all covered in gold powder, and then he's gonna go inside the lake and walk inside, and now he's a king after that ritual. So that originated like many people and many quests on coming to Colombia, and that like 400 years ago, to look for that all this gold, because also the people were like throwing things at the lake, emeralds and like a lot of gold, because basically for the Muisca people, this was not like wealth. The gold was more like a sacred and a spiritual element, right? So it connected the people with the nature and the earth. So yeah, that's basically the context, and I wanted to recreate that powerful ritual that led us to that legend. So let's see it.
Wait, let's see it.
Suaiba kuuka muiska, Suaiba kuuka ye, Zipa ye, menyakui suka, Inga akui, Inga ye akui, Ye kuicha, Ye sia, Ye fiba, Ata zaska, Ata bachue, Muiska inga yata hiska, Muiska yata hiska, Kubuna bukuisua.
Impressive video. Great. Okay, let me just get to the right slide here. 1 second.
Thank you, Martin.
Yeah.
So yeah,
all right. So David, let's see how you basically created this video. I think David is just gonna share the screen and bring us straight into the hands-on process, and we can see all the different steps he took.
Sure. Okay. Yes, Lucas, we can share the links to the videos. And actually, we're sharing these open spaces for you to see our full workflows after the webinar. So basically, this is spaces, what you're seeing now. Some of you may be familiar with that. And it's an infinite canvas, as you know. So all our tools, Freepik tools and image video models live here. So you can start creating it like in a different way, more visual way, like with notes and everything. But also it's an infinite canvas, meaning that you can drag and drop like image from your computer and everything, and create mood boards, create style boards, storyboards. So that's what I did here, a little bit like to start the project and to start shaping like the visual inspirations and everything. So I gathered some stuff over the internet, some visuals. You see here like hairheads from 300, like you see some pretty cool movies here. But I want to highlight a specific one, and it's this, because this is a music video from a band called Televit, and they are a Colombian band, really cool project. They have strong like concept mixing between like the indie music and indie rock music with um, these like ancient like Colombian and like folklore Andean music. So that's a pretty interesting and unexpected mix. And for their visual like approach to their video clips, they have these visuals like so I inspired a little bit for, especially for the shaman that you saw, the priests that were with the king. I got some inspirations from this, and you're gonna see it in a minute. So yeah, definitely highly recommend. I was obsessed with this record called Doce Vientos 10 years ago when it was launched. So if you like rock and alternative music, please give it a look. So yeah, once I got the inspiration, I wanted to create like a powerful character. So I started iterating with Google Nano Banana Pro, and I wanted to infuse this character with a lot of personality. So I started to play with these elements, golden jewelry, these elements like as you see here. It has a lot of details, scars. So I was trying to infuse personality and to include that in the prompt, right? So include realistic skin, imperfections, because if you like, I think if you don't do that, you're gonna get like random or like generic characters. So that's why I wanted to try this for this one, and I think it went pretty well. And also, it's maintaining this like accurate visual aesthetic of the Muisca people, right? Because this is different from other civilizations in America, like Maya or Aztec. Like they have their own like flavor and their own like accessories and everything. So it's a pretty specific look. So now that I have locked a character that I like, you see how I iterated a lot. This each of these generations, I was like iterating, improving the prompt, removing stuff, adding stuff. And once I got one that I like, I started to build the actual character sheet. That's super important, like moving forward. So I do this just by taking the reference image locked that I like, and then like with Nano Banana again, prompting like create a clean profile view of this and providing this image as a reference for the new generation. So I created a profile view from left, from right, and then from the back. And this is also super important. Detail of the face, of the facial features of the character, and this is gonna also gonna be useful later for the like realism in the when we are creating like the start images later and the videos as well. So as you see, this is my final character sheet, and I'm gonna be creating a character later in the Freepik UI. I'm gonna show you that later, but I also created a version of the character, and this was like a completely new character of the king, like without his mantle, but now it's fully covered in gold for the scenes. So I specifically prefer creating a new character and change his outfit instead of like going with this character and prompting, because I think it's cleaner. So that's why I created a new character for that. And this is the priests. As I mentioned, I was iterating first in some golden like masks, but it was giving me some like different vibes. So that's when the Televit reference came, and I remember these beautiful handmade and masks, more organic with this like kind of accessories. So I think that was perfect for the vibe I was looking for. Um, so basically the same, created like a general view, full body with Nano Banana. And once I liked, I created different views of the character, and of course the detailed view of the face or something important. Sometimes you have like a character that has like characteristic features like hands. I don't know if it has like rings or accessories in the hands, so that you may want to add that images to your character and for to include that later. And also the raft was super important in that legend, because this is where the king is gonna be inside of the lake. So I like took the golden piece that it's in the gold museum here in Bogota. It's an actual golden piece from their civilization, and it was the representation of the raft. And I used that to create and to represent the raft and to reconstruct that. And I used a node called variations. I don't know if all of you know that we have this node, but variations, what lets you do is basically create different views. So for this one, I didn't go like view, like different views, like image by image. I just selected variation and created all the different variation just with one node. So you can do it like this. This is the variation node, and you can go here and select reframe and select the different views that you want. So for example, aerial, I can like remove close up and hit aerial, etc., and then select your quality and
Can you show how you are passing the raft and the characters to Kling?
Yeah. So once I got the like locked characters, I jumped to the generator. Oh, but before I show you that, let me show you a little bit of organizations in spaces. So we have a tool called folders. So we have folders inside Freepik. So the way I like to do it is once I have locked, for example, the character sheet, I would go here, select a group, and move to folder, right? So I have everything organized here inside my project. And I have like selected clips, selected stills, and I have one folder for character sheet, and I have the different characters in here. So I would create like a priest, one folder for them, and once I have the folder, I would just move my data set to that folder, and now I have it there. So I can go outside spaces, go to the generators, and start building. Like now that I have, like, let me show you. So in here in the generator, you can create with references. You can create with style, characters, elements using different models. So Nano Banana has pretty much all the features. So also Flux is very good with this realism and cinematic. So for this, I went with Nano Banana, and you can create like here, if you select characters in the UI, you can navigate through characters, elements, and you can create a new. So for example, if you click here, you can create a new character, give it a name, so priest, and then you can drag and drop an image from your computer, or basically look into your folders. So that's why I would like to keep this organized, right? So now I have all my characters, like pictures in here. So I just add in here what I want, and now it has. I'm creating the
So this is basically
different
like
views.
this is the preparation for creating the characters that you're then passing to Kling.
Correct. Yeah. So you just hit like if it's male, female, that's gonna help the model to understand it better and create character, and that's it. You now have a new character available to use with Kling. So I built some stills first, and then let's jump right into Kling, because this is what we want to see, right? So I created this still with Nano Banana with some references and some characters. And then the cool thing about Kling is you can like just drag and drop here an image as a starting frame, and then start adding references. So you can select between character or elements. In this case, I used both. So I used our king here, and the Mekene, his name, the priest. This is our previously character that I built. And then also I used the raft because I wanted to keep the raft super consistent. So I selected the raft in here, and then yeah, just prompt. But there's another trick in here, and I think this is super a game changer definitely for me. It reduced like the times of the production like in half, I think, and it's the multi-shot. So this new feature from Kling 3 lets you like create different shots and cut between shots. So basically, you may want to create like this first is going to be driven by the start image. So you can call different references in here, or your start image, and like say wide shot of the character. So let's call at Nemekene. I named him as with two priests, etc., etc. And I just prompt whatever I want to see, and then I just hit here, and as you see, a new shot is added. So in here you can select the duration for each shot. So I like to do this as the limit is 15 seconds. I like to create 5, sometimes, not always, but for important moments like this, when he's like entering to the lake or something, you may want to have like a full coverage from different angles of the same action. That's super cinematic language, and it's gonna give a look of cinematic look to your production, right? So in this case, like first shot is the wide driven by the start image, and then the second shot it's gonna durate the 3 seconds, and it's gonna be a close up. Let's say a close up of at Nemekene space eyes. Let's say eyes, and that's like say I don't know quality, high quality, quality, macro style photography, right? So he's focused, whatever.
And it's getting the time of day, for example, is getting that from the start frame.
Correct. It is driven by the start frame, and everything is going to be consistent. And this is something important as well, because you may want to have like a super strong character sheet and super strong start frame, and everything you prompt in these shots, you may want to have like visible in your start frame. So for example, if I prompt like a close-up of his face, I have his face visible on the start frame and also in the character sheet, right? But if I prompt something like that is not visible in any of my references, that would lead to like the model to hallucinate, and we're gonna lose control. So I don't recommend that. So you may want to focus on prompting like shots and angles, but visible from your starting frame, or if not, if that not visible from your starting frame, it's at least for your character, like visible in your character sheet. For example, I created something like a profile side view of uh, of that shot, and then prompt whatever I want. But I have the profile side view of of the character, because I created that in the character sheet. So that's this is like where the model is taking that information to make sure like we have consistent, like everything is consistent. So with this technique, let me show you a couple of clips in here, and you're gonna see like like
Can you show?
the realism.
So this is one
Yeah.
of the videos where you did the how many shots? Like five shots for this one.
Yeah, so if you do 5 shots, 3 seconds each, so you're gonna get the 15 full length.
Yep.
So yeah, and you see how like the different like points of view and the different like shots are keeping the location in the background. Like it's doing a great job. And for me, it's like amazing. Before this, you would have to go and create each of these shots start frame with Nano Banana, and that was a lot of work. And now it's like saving a lot of time, and the consistency is even better. That if you create, look at this, for example, this profile shot is beautiful. It's keeping the mist and everything, this close up. Yeah.
And I noticed in this shot also, I saw it before, and I noticed also that, you know, they're throwing this gold powder on the character, and when you see the shots later in the video, he will actually have the powder on it. So it's like remembering how the character is like changing during that video.
Yeah,
and I guess this
as
is one of
memory.
if the alternative is to like work a lot with start and end frames, you would have to keep track of, you know, how much gold is on that character and so on, and you can sort of like shortcut all that using this multi-shot approach.
Yeah, you can actually use end frame to have even more control. I didn't, but yeah, for the thing that for that you were saying, like you may want to use like end frame in here. Oh no, actually it's disabled when using multi-shot. Yeah, so I want like you can use it, but it's only available when using like a single shot.
Cool.
But it's also interesting to use.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and that's basically it. That was like my workflow, but I do want to show you a little bit of motion control. So let me go backspaces, because Martin recorded himself with an AirPods case, and we converted this to like this video of Martin in his set, just playing with an AirPods case. I converted into Nemekene holding this like Muisca figurine.
Yeah.
And you see how it keeps like this
one
is
of the
also game changing.
One of the things that is really interesting about this one is that in the original recording, because I was recording it with a camera that has you know, very narrow focal area, so it's actually, you can see the change focus from my face to my hand, and Kling 3 motion controls actually also converting that focus. So I think it's super impressive that it can actually handle that also.
Yeah, and I think also that this tool is super key, like for AI filmmakers to achieve like better realism, because for this, like we have seen a lot of like dancing and choreography, like this tool used for that, but it's also super like interesting and powerful for like dialogues, for facial expressions. Like imagine like a real actor like behind, like powering the performance of your characters. So I think this is like super powerful for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, super nice.
Yeah, so that's it.
Cool. All right. Should we? Let's take just two questions maybe for this particular demo. I think Easy, she's gonna find some questions. So there's one question about the little doll. Is that from a prompt or a prop?
Yeah.
It's using like using a reference image for that one, or?
So the little doll, basically, let me show you a little bit of the workflow here. I extracted your video's start frame and asked Nano Banana to improve the quality because I wanted to work with a high quality frame. So I asked to upscale the frame and then maintaining consistency of your movements or your pose, sorry. And then asked Nano Banana to, like, by prompting, I didn't use reference for the figurine, just prompting like ancient, like pre-Columbine or figurine in gold, and it got like Nano Banana gold. Yeah, nailed it.
But you could have generated that one from photos and put that into an element and then pass that to Kling.
Yeah. If I want to play something like a custom figurine, I would just feed like in here, like with the reference, and call it here then in the prompt, and it would do the job.
All right. Super cool. Okay, so can variations in people be generated while maintaining the same consistency across individuals? I mean, there's a lot of ways to create variations. I'm going to show an example where I'm going to show a little bit about like how you can generate characters from different angles and so on, and how it's actually also transferring into the videos. Cool. Let's take some more questions in the end also. I think we have a girl from Freepik. She's going to curate the questions and we can take a look afterwards. Let's jump back to the slides. Great. All right. Thank you, David. So the next example is going to be a little bit more animated style. So what David showed was more photorealism, was documentary style. I'm going to show something that is more animated, and this is about this anti-hero character in search of a hidden treasure, and then he's fighting off wolves in the forest and finding a treasure. So that's sort of like what I wanted to build. And one of the focus areas of this video was to get like a lot of action, a lot of camera movement, and just a really high pace. So we're going to see this video now, and let's check. All right, we're going to take a look at how this video was made, and I'm going to switch to spaces also. So I'm just going to take you through some of the first steps in how I approach a project like this. And usually what I do is that I start with a character. So I have a fictional character that I really like. And he looks like this. I'm just going to upload what I'm going to do here is just I'm dropping in the image onto the canvas. So I have this creation, and then we can keep working with him. So I like a few things about him. I like the scars, the clothing. I don't like he has a sword. I would like him to be a little bit more like a wizard or something like that. So we're going to create a new weapon for him, and then just replace the sword with that one. So I'm going to have an image generator here and then create a fictional weapon just using Nano Banana 2. I'm going to do this part quickly so we can get to the Kling part. So I'm going to hit run on this one, and hopefully we'll get some kind of magical staff or something like that. And then we're going to take our character here and combine it with the weapon. And we're gonna replace the sword with, let's call this one weapon. And then in the prompt, we're gonna write replace sword with weapon. I'm just gonna check that we have the reference here. Like this. And also let's make the eyes purple and remove this yellow smoke. So now we should have a character carrying this this magical staff. And then what I want to, like what I do when I'm using Kling, I'm going to show Kling Omni. And I'm not going to rely on start frames. So I'm only going to rely on reference images. And there's a few tricks. So with Kling 3.0 without the Omni and motion control, you have the option of using characters and elements. With Kling Omni, you just pass it reference images. So we're going to build like a character sheet in a slightly different way. So I'm going to use this, my guy here, and then we'll create like a character sheet. And by character sheet, I mean it's basically one image that holds picture of the character from many different angles. So in the prompt here, I'm just going to show you the prompt. So it says, make a character sheet, white background, no text, show the character from the front, the back, while running, and from the side. So basically we're going to have images that we can pass to Kling in a single image, and then pass it to Kling, and then Kling will then know how does this character look from all different sides, and how does it look when he's running. So you can see here, we now have all this information, and then we can start. We should actually just, 1 second, I need to say, I did say no text, but sometimes you get text anyway. I'm just going to run it again just to get a version without text. Great. And then I usually do 3 things whenever I'm building like a story like this. I build the character, I build, you know, any artifact, like for example the weapon he's holding, but then also the world. And one trick to get a nice world is to do something where you take, for example, your character, and then you just ask Nano Banana to create, basically imagine a world where this character runs. So, you know, it can be a dark forest and something else. But you're basically asking Nano Banana to take a look at the reference image and then imagine a world. So that's a pretty cool trick and a quick way to sort of like get something where it feels coherent. So let's use this one. So now we have our character sheet up here. This one is without text, so we can keep that one. And below here, we're going to have our world. So now we have 2 reference images we can start passing to Nano Banana. I think this one is not. I'm going to keep this one. So let's move to Kling here. So to get Kling, I'm adding a video generator, and then you can go here. You can pick all the different Kling models. We're going to pick Kling Omni. So you can see here, there's a whole lot of input options, and we're going to rely on the reference images, which is the bottom one. So I'm going to pass the character and the world, and then I'll just leave the rest as is. And now for my prompt, I'm going to use also multi-shot prompting, but in here I'm going to do it slightly different, because what David was showing is that when you're using the video generator, you can basically just open these small tabs for each shot. But you can also simply just write it out in one go. So you can see here, first of all, I'm just defining what is the style of video I want. And then for each shot, you can basically just say, you know, shot 1, and then you can define what should happen there. I want to have a close-up of the character. The next one, I want to have him running through the forest, looking over his shoulders. There are wolves, you know, running after him. And then he's being stopped by the wolves, and then he's going to fight them.
You can also include the duration of each shot in the image.
But what I'm going to do here is actually I'm going to leave some of the editing to the video model. One of the things I think is like when happens when you do something like this is that, for example, when you're asking it to create basically this full scene, not only each shot, and you're asking for like action movie, it's going to be actually cutting quite fast. So actually giving like this action movie scene to it. So it's like just reducing a little bit of the time I need to do some editing afterwards. And then we're going to say 1080p and then sound effects. So I'm not asking for any kind of like speech or music. So mostly this will just be like sound effects of whatever is happening in the shots. So this would be a really fast, fast workflow for creating, getting to a cinematic scene here. Oh, sorry, I'll just close it down. 1 second. Gonna get back.
Yeah, so people were asking, how did you get the connectors to look like that? That's new, right?
Okay, so the way to get the connectors to look like that in the settings, there's like a little toggle here where you can make them round or square. So I just prefer the square ones. It's going to generate. It's not the fastest model. We are working on optimizing, getting that to be faster and so on. So instead of waiting for this to complete, what I'll do is that I'll just jump to a different space where I have a lot of this, finished basically. So here is my project. We're going to share links to all these spaces afterwards, but you can basically see, some of the results of a prompt like this. So I think this one is, let me see if I have one here. Yeah, so this is a result from, this initial prompt. Just going to make it load. One buddy.
There was also someone asking about what is the model to motion control. It's Kling 3 motion control.
So here's a 10-second video of this one. So what I'm looking for whenever I'm doing videos like this is that often what you'll see is that you might, do multi-shot, videos, but it's not always that you like every shot from each generation. So what I normally do is that I really like the intro here, and I like the way he's running here, but I don't like, you can see for example, the colors change quite a lot for this one. And so I don't like the way that, this wolf shot looks. And here it's okay, but it's also a little bit maybe not the best shot. So I like the intro of this one. And what I normally do is that I would then, maybe, say good intro. And then I take the next one. And then I like maybe this part of this one where he's like, hitting all the wolves with a spell. And here's a really cool shot of him running again later. But he's running in the wrong direction. So I'm just putting in a note like, okay, just note for myself, flip this when doing editing. And then he's reaching a temple. I like it when he's running again, but I don't like when he's walking. So just, recall that I don't, I need to do some editing here. And then he's finally finding a treasure. So in the end, what I would do is that I would do multi-shot prompting, but then look for specific shots from each of those generations and, in the end, combine them. And I can just show you also what what sort of like the video project looked like here. So this is the video project, and you can see if I go to, for example, a shot like this one here. So this one had him walking and then running. And I only liked the part where he was running. So I would, cut that initial part of the walking, remove that. And then, so I'm only keeping the part here where he's actually running towards the temple. And then just to combine video one here, he's running through the forest. He's then reaching the temple. Just to make sure that, there's continuation between these different things. I'm looking for example, that, here you can see his leg. He has his right leg forward. And then I'm just timing that when the next video starts, it's the same. He's sort of like having the same movement. You can see his right leg going backwards on the next shot. So you actually feel like even though the camera angle is changing, the guy is like, having the same running rhythm. So that's sort of like just a trick to really, like, when you're tying these shots together, look for things like that. And also in the project here, I removed all the audio because I wanted to create, just a different experience with the audio. And I really like this shot where he's creating basically a magical spell, and then hitting all the wolves at once. And so I found a music track where there was like a break. So there's kind of like this vacuum, and then it hits all the wolves here. So you can see you can play around and do like this kind of like the final touches of creating that more cinematic effect by adding the sound like that. And let's see. So that was very, very quick walkthrough. Let's see. Yeah. So one more thing here. I tried, like, for example, here you can. I think David, he showed like the motion control option, and I tried here. For example, here you have the version where he's like no motion control. He's just opening the chest and finding the gold. But maybe we wanted to actually have him find, a jewel instead. So it would be more like this. So you can very quickly, change the ending. And the way I did this one, you can see here, like he's actually standing here, with the chest open and everything. He's actually standing in the same spot. And I'm just going to show you very quickly how that was done. So what I did was basically, I took the video when he's running into the temple, and in the video, he's then ending up looking into the chest. And I'm just taking the end frame. So instead of having him here, like just looking at the gold, I'm then asking him to hold, the sapphire. So it's a very quick way, sort of like if you want to, change the path of your storyline, take a frame from the video, manipulate it with Nano Banana Pro, generate something new. So this frame here where he's standing with the lid open and everything was simply like something coming from Kling. So you can also pull stuff out of Kling, manipulate it with Nano Banana Pro, and then just continue building your storyline.
We have some questions.
And,
do we have time for questions?
I think so. Yeah.
They're asking how I can mix many videos together to make it a 60-second video. I think you answered that, but also there's a note called Video Combiner. I don't know if you can show that.
Yeah, let me show you. So I'm going to show you here. So we have a few new nodes that are coming to Spaces. So one of them is called the Video Combiner. And what I'm doing here is that I'll just remove this one. So what you can do is that you can basically take a video node and you can connect it to the Video Combiner. And then in the Video Combiner, you'll then see all the different shots next to each other. And then you can hit run, and then you get like one single video out of that. It's coming also, like the first version is not going to be including that you can trim the videos, but it's also going to be having a trim feature pretty soon. And then there's another really handy node, which is called basically extract frames, or frame extractor. And this one lets you pick any frame in a video. And then from here, you can then basically ask it to extract it. So you can see you're then getting, any frame from the video, and then you can, continue manipulating that, which is a really powerful way also to do this. When you're working with multi-shot, you want to maybe have a single frame and then pass it to Nano Banana Pro, make a close-up, continue animating, and so on. So both the Video Combiner plus the frame extractor are really powerful, and just lets you continue working inside Spaces without having to go to an external app and so on.
Martin, do we have time for more questions, or?
Yeah, let's just do questions.
They're asking how do you deal with image melting? For instance, if we edit one image multiple times, the image starts to melt. So my approach to that is using the in-paint like tools inside Spaces, like that lets you like edit like just a precise part of the image, because definitely that's not a good practice. Like keep editing and editing the same image is gonna melt completely your image. So that this way you can like focus the edition in just this the in-painted part, and the rest is gonna be like consistent.
see if we delete. No. So let's see. There's another node that is also really interesting, I think, from this kind of filmmaking perspective, which is I'm just gonna, like, for example, let's say we wanted to create some music for this video. What you can actually do is that you can send a frame to the assistant node, and in the assistant node you can then ask it to create a music prompt based on this scene, and then it's going to read what's in the image and then come up with some music for that. And this is one of the new nodes. It's basically we have 3 new audio nodes, so music generator, sound effects, and voice. So what you can actually do is that you can take a frame that is you think is like, representing what your video is about, and then make a basically like the soundtrack from that. Music, right? So it's like would be perfect for this video. So it's a really interesting way to actually work with audio, but then you can base it on the visuals. Great.
Yeah, they are asking about the cost for this video.
Yeah, so I think let's try to calculate some of them. So for example, these ones is a bit more than 1,000 credits. We can probably calculate like in the amount in US dollar. I would probably be saying like an estimate will be $50 around this for this 30-second video.
Kespert is saying the in painting is not respecting it should respect the rest of the image. We can check that because it should.
It does. When it's in painting, it does. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. And then let's just, while we're waiting maybe for more questions, let me show you also what you can do for, so Kling Omni also has the option for passing a reference image, reference video and 4 reference images. So let's say you want to create a drone shot where you have a temple in the middle and then you have the camera like panning around it, and then found like a real video of this exact movement. And then I have my world here. I then ask it to create roughly a temple that looks a little bit like what I have in the video. And then with Kling Omni, you can then pass it the reference video and the reference images, and then you can sort of like replicate that camera movement and take that. So it's a really cool way. This is probably not the most advanced shot, but I've seen people, for example, controlling like maybe a spaceship, but then they do like a low poly version in 3D and then passing that as a reference video. So Kling Omni also has the option of like you can actually start mixing in a little bit of 3D animation or footage or whatever you want, and then you can control the objects. It's not only humans you can control like that.
Okay, more questions. Where can I find the image extractor node? I think you mean the when I extracted the Martin's video first frame, and
yeah.
I did it just by like the output of a video node.
I think it's this one, because the extract frames right now it's coming within days. It's still
No, but I think he meant how I extracted the first frame. You can actually do that right now. If you have a video and you can, like, one output of the video is a start frame and the other output right now is
So you can take any frame like this, and then you can a start and end frame. You can take those out. But you can also now with the new frame extractor node, you can then get any node you want also. So we have like these two options here, like, just start and end frame if you need those. And then if you need any frame, you take the video and then you go to the video extractor, and then you can pick anything you want. And you can also take, for example, there's a few options here for saying a certain sample rate or auto, and then you can just, export anything you want.
Yeah, but this is internal, just internal for now. It's not available.
Yeah, it's coming within a few days. So we need to just debug that, and then it should be ready.
I got a couple of interesting questions, but I don't know if we have time. I think it's
That's
the last one.
Let's continue here. So I think maybe you go. So we will share the slides here, or not the slides, sorry, the links in the chat, and you'll have the links to the 2 spaces. We also have a set of tutorials in Freepik Academy where you can go in, check some nice videos, and then you will basically have video material that will teach you everything that we went through today. And this is just a summary of the new notes that are coming, relevant for filmmaking, combine videos, extracting frames, and then all the 3 audio options, including music generation. And I think that is it. I don't know if we can just stay and get some more questions. It's fine.
I don't know. Let's read one more. How can I make a time lapse for a build for building construction? Just prompt time lapse.
Yeah.
Put that in your prompt.
That's
with Kling, it's great. How would you handle continuous shot that is over 15 seconds long? Could you use that image extractor node? Yeah, that's actually how you do it.
Yeah.
Extracting the last. Actually, Martin, you have a full talk about that in the upscale.
Yeah. So one of the tricks is not to always use the end frame for when you can basically like combine 2 videos. So you basically take 1 frame from 1 video and then use it as a start frame for the next one. But usually you should not go for the last frame because then you feel like all the motion sort of like slows down in the end. So stitch them together, more in the middle than starting in frames. So.
How to deal with distortions while the characters are in high dynamic motions?
That's a really good question. So there's a few ways to avoid some of these problems, and one thing you can do is that if you know that you have a character moving in a certain way during the video, you can actually ask Nano Banana to create a few of the frames that are in the video with everything correct, all the proportions correct, and so on. And then you pass that as a reference image. So actually in the reference images, you give a little bit of more information to Kling about how do you want the movements to be. And then when Kling then reaches that point in the video, it's actually going to look at the reference images and do it more correct. So you can actually fix some of those distortion issues with passing more reference images.
There's also another workaround that, and it's generating not like in a slow motion or normal speed, and then change the speed in post, so that now you get like the full quality. But
so you're generating in slow motion and then speeding it up.
Mm-hmm. Or in natural motion, because it's right. That's correct. When you generate like really quick things, like there's a lot of artifacts.
Great. Okay, so Jonas, we're getting a question about why I use Kling Omni instead of Kling 3. I think they're slightly different. Kling Omni, you can pass way more reference images and not rely on start frames, whereas in Kling 3 you need like the start frame. And also in Kling 3 you have only the options of passing characters and elements as references. Yeah, so that's a question about just getting the tutorial for newcomers. I think if you look at the Notion document that was shared in the chat, we also share that on social media. In there are going to be links to the tutorials in Academy, and I think if you go to Freepik Academy, the content there is really like slowed down. We explain everything. You can hit pause, you can do it yourself, and so on. So if you're new to this kind of workflows, go there, and then you can learn it in your own pace. Great. Okay, let's wrap it up. Thank you all for joining, and see you next time.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you, David.
Bye.